We shouldn't, in a society we live in today, we shouldn't go attack this man. This man is out here doing something he loves, passionate about, while he entertains us, right? Like, we're at home watching this. We're not the ones behind the wheel. We're not the ones that have to do this, but we're the ones that are opinionated enough to go out and say very hurtful things towards a guy that didn't do anything to you directly other than the fact he let his emotions get the best of him and had an incident at a NASCAR event, man. What's going on, y'all? I'm Brandon Atlanta Man Bang, coming to you live right here, Coach's Corner, the center of the universe. Another installment of Rubbin' and Grubbin'. Rubbin' is racing, grubbin' is tasting. Hope everybody's having a great Wednesday night out there, man. We got a lot to go over. If you're new to tuning in, we like to get the show started with what we like to call the word of the day. So the way we play this is every time I say this word, which I have no idea what it's going to be, you're going to take a sip of your favorite adult beverage. I always like to say it's age appropriate as well. It's Wednesday. We've been back in school. If you're under the age of 21, man, grab something real sugar, energy drink, something, get hyped up. So there again, this week's word of the day is going to be, I have no idea, but Lawrence is going to throw it up there, and every time I say it, make sure you take a sip, y'all. All right, little technical difficulties there, man. Got to give a big shout out there. We'll start it out news with Joey Logano brings home the checkered flag there at Las Vegas. I tell you what, that's huge for this 22 team. It locks him into the Final Four, championship playoff four, man. So he's a contender, going to race for that championship there in Phoenix when we get there. And, boy, we got 2 more races before we're there. So kind of gives him a little bit of a break. These next couple weeks he can go out and just chase the checkered flags and the trophies, and also gives that team a little bit of time to start working and prepping that Phoenix car, knowing that they're going to go there to race for a championship. So Joey did a big thing, locked himself in. Got to give himself a big pat on the back for that, man. So moving right into some more news. I mean, look, this is what y'all guys probably thought I was going to start it out with. Bubba Wallace suspended 1 race for the action Sunday against Kyle Larson with the on-track incident.
Come on, man.
So if you haven't seen it, which I don't know how you haven't, you've got to be in outer space with no cable or no internet or no social media if you hadn't seen anything about this. Bubba felt that, Kyle Larson squeezed him a little bit. Bubba Wallace got in the wall, made a hard left turn, chased him down the track, hooked him in the right side of the car, which usually turns that driver head on into the wall. And we're talking very high speeds there at Vegas, 180 plus. So very dangerous. And I will say, I think the thing that really helped Kyle Larson was getting a little bit of Christopher Bell. So not only did Bubba take himself out, take Larson out, he also took a Toyota, not a teammate necessarily, but an affiliated Toyota out of somewhat contention, is into a must-win now there in Christopher Bell. So NASCAR came out, suspended him 1 race. No monetary fines, no financial aspect of it, no points lost. So that was the tip of the iceberg. After the cars came to stop, Bubba got out, walked halfway down the track to get to Kyle Larson and started pushing and shoving. So I do got to give Kyle Larson some mad respect for not fighting back, not pushing back. Shows the maturity there. But yeah, NASCAR handed down that suspension, man. So I'll get into more of this a little bit later on, another segment of the show. But yeah, some big news there. So more big news coming out of the Toyota camp, man. We got a few guys that get an early offseason. Ben Bashore, the crew chief of the 18, along with the tire carrier and changer, suspended 4 races. So they won't be back for the remainder of the 2022 season, and also will miss the Busch Clash there for the 2023 season. So got a little bit of an early offseason. I know Ben Bashore will be in the headquarters working on it, I'm sure communicating with the team. But I'm sure Kyle Busch is just waiting for 2022 to be over so he can start this next chapter over at RCR, because it's been a little bit of a nightmare season for the driver of the 18 as well. Just catching a lot of penalties. I think this might be the 2nd or 3rd time Ben Bashore has been suspended for that loose wheel. So there again, cookie crumbles that way. I hate it for him, but hey, man, at least some of those guys get to go home and see the fam an extra few weeks before they come back next year. Tyler Reddick going to join in. I'm sure you guys read about this. This happened a couple weeks ago. Tyler Reddick bought out of that contract over there at RCR. He will be joining 2311 next season and starting 2023 instead of 2024. So it's going to be cool, man. I think him and Bubba will make a really good team out there. We're going to have to see what they wait and do, obviously, with Kurt Busch announcing his retirement from full-time racing this year. There again, Tyler Reddick's going to slide right on over, and I think it's going to be an amazing asset for 2311. It would not surprise me to see there again Tyler Reddick go out and drive that car to a few wins next year. So more big news there, man. Corey LaJoie and Ty Dillon have set the lineup for Spire Motorsports for 2023. We were waiting on that announcement to see if they were going to, downsize or who they were going to sign. But Ty Dillon and Corey LaJoie are both re-signed over there for the 77 and the 7 of Spire Motorsports. So we're going to have to see how they do. I hope the best for them, man. Me and Lawrence have taken Corey LaJoie at a couple long shots there and come this close twice, man. We came this close a couple times. So we'll just have to wait and see. Maybe we can, we get back around to Atlanta. We'll definitely be taking Corey again. If you put the man in some good equipment, I think he could probably really get you some really good runs. So hopefully that's out there. In the next couple of years, we'll see Corey building that, or maybe Aspire builds their organization up. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens. But big kudos to them for getting signed up, man. Do got to give a big shout out to social media, y'all. If you haven't yet, please go out, like, share, follow all that social media. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram. You can find us on YouTube, definitely YouTube. Check that out, Twitter. Subscribe, like, share that YouTube channel for real. That's how we get more people out and involved in all the charitable events and everything that really Rubbing and Grubbing is about. Not only the NASCAR and the things we do there, but the charitable events as well. And the way I feel is the more eyes I can get on it weekly, hopefully the more donations and the more charitable things that people want to give, all right here at Coach's Corner, man. So go out, like, share, follow all that social media. Definitely check out that YouTube page for sure, man. Getting right back into the NASCAR news. I read an article today, NASCAR is implementing a wet weather package for short track racing. Now, I don't know the definitive start date. We don't know if it'll start in 2023, which I would really hope NASCAR, with the struggles that we've seen in the majority of the short tracks this year, even Bristol to me wasn't what Bristol was to last year or the 2-3 years before. So we really got to get that figured out. I think Martinsville was really the spot that really hurt the short package with this next gen, the short track package. So I would hope NASCAR would get that lined out and fixed first before we start implementing wet weather packages for short tracks. But it is something they're working on. So to me, not my cup of tea. I think NASCAR is not made to run in the rain. We're not Formula One. We're not Indy. We're not that type of racing. I hope that we stay true to what we are as NASCAR and don't continue to kind of grow with the trend of watching newer fans want these types of races. That's just me, my opinion on it. I'm old school. I like what we normally do: asphalt, sunny days, cloudy days, just no rain. That's just me. Road courses are one thing, which we have too many of those as well, but you start racing in rain on a short track, it's going to be very upsetting for sure. As I alluded to earlier, y'all, Kurt Busch retired full-time, man. And I tell you what, coming in and watching the sport before he started and watching him grow from the young driver he came in, the arrogant, asshole, if we will. It's on the table right there or behind the laptop. I got to get my sweater bucket. But yeah, growing from being, cocky, adolescent, young youth and having, some learning curves to go through to growing into being one of the better ambassadors of the sports. Kurt Busch deserves nothing more than a first ballot Hall of Fame bid. I'm telling you right now. I mean, won in every single manufacturer: Dodge, Chevy, Toyota, Ford. Won a championship, has won numerous races. Not only that, the impact the man's made to the teams he's gone to. Look at it, 78 at Furniture Row there when they owned that car. He was in it there for a year or two before Truex came in and got the championship. And then look at the Blue Deuce he ran and kind of brought Penske back out of the gutter after Rusty Wallace and Brad Keselowski was that young guy. So a lot of things that this man has done throughout the sports, and I hate to see it ended that way. I think he probably had another couple good seasons in him left, at least at 23-11, at least one more. And it just, older age, it just kind of comes with it, and who knows how many concussions he had before this one. I mean, it's just something we really never implemented and talked about in the sport until safety really became an issue there after the early 2000s. So I hate to see him go. But love to watch him leave, and the fact we're going to see another young, talented guy go over there and take it and try to fill those shoes that he left at 23-11. But hopefully, I'm sure he'll stay involved in the sport one way or another. And hell, I mean, maybe he'll run a few races here and there for some smaller teams. I've always said that. I think that Xfinity trucks or even Cup after you retire, why come back? I mean, I get it. If it's the organization calls you, somebody's hurt, you need to come in and fill in, kind of similar to what Gordon did there for Earnhardt a couple times after he retired. Do it. But I would love to see Kurt Busch driving some of that underfunded team and just getting more eyeballs on it and helping them get some sponsorship and helping them progress their program. So maybe he'll find an R&D job. Maybe he'll find somewhere behind the scenes to work for one of these race teams, or maybe he'll just go out and do what he wants to do. But at the end of the day, an announcer would be great as well. He's been in the sport long enough, and he's got, experience in the booth. So maybe he's another guy that we'll see calling races up there to join the likes of Dale Jr. and Gordon there for a while, and everybody else, Jeff Burton and everybody else that does. So got to give Kurt Busch a real big farewell. I really hope that NASCAR here at this award ceremony does something really good for him at the end of the season. Not really getting the retirement tour that I think he deserves that we've seen for other drivers. But at the end of the day, hopefully they do something special for him for sure, even if not this year, all the way through 2023. Run something special for him. All the different car numbers he's driven, ticket prices, whatever it may be, man. Just something. Hot dog cost at Martinsville $2 because he drove the 2 there. I mean, who knows? You know, whatever. So hopefully they give and pay some kudos and some homage to Kurt Busch, man. Alex Bowman's still out recovering from concussion-like symptoms, and I haven't heard anything yet if he's going to be back racing this weekend at Homestead, Miami. We know he had that accident a few weeks ago, and it pretty much kind of ruined his championship playoff intentions, really, to be honest with you. The run for the championship, just when you don't start, you don't get those points, kind of found himself in a hole, didn't come back last week or there and really had that one opportunity, not at Vegas, but the week before, to kind of lock himself into the playoffs. So hopefully he gets well. I think that's the most important thing, getting 100% back healthy, especially being a younger driver. You want to make sure that your brain heals in a way to where you're not going to have lingering symptoms that continue to do the things that you're going through and experience with a concussion. So thoughts and prayers thinking about you, Alex, man. Hopefully you get back in the car soon, brother. I don't mind. I love seeing the problem child, Noah Gregson, in the car. I mean, I do. I think it's really good for him getting some of that experience and really good equipment and having those opportunities to go out and showcase the talent. I think he's kind of getting a little bit biting off a little bit of it, going, so this is what it takes to compete full-time week in and week out against these guys. We've seen bright spots in his career already. We'll see what happens this week. I might have him as a dark horse pick, man. We'll have to wait till we get to that part of the show. But am thinking about Alex, and like I said, Noah Gregson filling in with the 48. I think it's a really good deal that they got going on over there at Hendrick right now. So before we get into the next segment, we're going to pause for station identification right here on Coach's Corner Sports Network. Hope everybody's having a great Wednesday, man. Cheers, y'all. All right. So getting right into my favorite part of the show, the checkered flag for charity, man. So the way that we roll to this, if you're new to the show, whatever car number wins is what we donate into our checkered flag for charity. And there again, it was for Payson Thompson. This will be the last week for that. We're going to carry it out for the last few weeks of the season here for Help Save One of our own, and try to help John Henderson get to that total up there. So do want to give, again, a big thanks to everybody that participated, whether you came out to a concert and donated into those Cooler Full of Joys, whether you were at the barbecue contest, whether you came out just to support and donate some of your time. I had a lot of buddies of mine, Jamie Davis out there down at Docks, came out and helped this weekend. Numerous folks have come out and helped. Parker Eckel, the Arbor Man again, Lamar at Lamar's Body Shop, John Henderson, obviously, he said anything I need for any of these events, just let him know. So that just tells you what kind of people we roll with as a community, and just coming together to raise money for a good cause, man. So Payson, anyways, love you, girl. I hope everything goes good, and make sure you get straight A's, because this money can go hard to work, my friend. But basically what we're doing here is we got some money. We got $22 for Logano. So anything under Christopher Bell in that 20, so $22 more goes into that. That brings that total right here to $3,400, just off this and a few Cooler Full of Joys. I haven't done the exact totals on the barbecue contest, but I do know that we raised a few $1,000s there as well. So it's just been a great year to do this, a great turnout. I'm so honored and privileged not only to be able to do it for her, but also to be able to do this and be a part of this coach's family. I think a lot of people don't understand the camaraderie and the brothership of what we have in the family-oriented between the tight-knit group of people that are here. I can't speak highly enough about Lawrence behind the camera coming up every single week. Him, Reed Bennett, Julius Bennett, all these guys putting in their time when I wasn't able to be here to keep this charity, going, keep this charitable thing we're doing, raising money. So do got to give a big shout out to that as well. So do want to give a big shout out really quick to everybody that came out to the barbecue event and also everything else, the concert and everything here at Coach's. Thanks to everybody that came out and supported. Do want to give a really big shout out to John and Adele Henderson again for allowing me to host that up here. I can't speak highly enough about them there. They do everything for this community that they possibly can and are always here to help. So big shout out to them. Got to give a big shout out there to Parker Eccles over there, Arbor Man, Lamar, everybody that came out and helped sponsor all these events throughout the year so far. Definitely want to give you guys a shout out as well. So again, if you came out, you donated, you came out to the concert and donated. If you've been on the TP, which we're turning in now to the doghouse this year and donated, give yourself a big pat on the back, man. That's all for a great cause. So just wanted to get that out of the way. Everybody out there, man, I really hope that, here moving forward next year when we decide what we're going to do, what the event is, I hope we have the same amount of turnout. It's just amazing to watch what this community in this local area of around Savannah and the islands can come together and raise the money that we raise that all stays local. So there again, big thanks to everybody. And I'm telling you guys, we're only going to go up from here. We're going to keep doing this every year as long as we can and raising as much money as we can for these local charities and local people that need our help, man. That's what it's all about. So getting right into the second part of the show, my second favorite part, man, the Who's Hot and Who's Not, sponsored by Arbor Man Tree Service. You'll see that number scrolling on the screen all night. I say it all the time. If any tree service needs you need, make sure you give Parker a call. Parker Eccles, locally owned, locally operated. Even if you're unsure of what you need, he'll be more than glad to come out and give you an estimate and tell you, hey, this can stay, this probably needs to go. And it doesn't matter if it's, tree trimming, cutting some limbs back off the house, tree trimming, full tree removal, stump grinding, whatever it may be. Make sure you give Parker Eccles a call over there at Arbor Man Tree Service, man. As I say all the time, no job too big, too small, no tree too tall. Give Parker a call. Hey, love you, brother, and thank you for your koozies, man, and all your support, man. We'll get up here sometime soon before Christmas and Thanksgiving. Have a couple cold beers together and reminisce on this year, man. But love you, dude. Thank you, man. So getting right into the who's hot and who's not. And this has been really difficult, man, because we're getting into the point in time of the year where there's really the only guys that win races are really the hot ones, and everybody else is kind of the not ones, because we're getting down to a point where it all comes down to one race. But after watching last week's race and going back over the last 3 weeks, I put Joey Logano on the top, man. I know I'm decked out in my Chase Elliott gear as I always am, but I put Joey Logano on the top, man. And it's an oval, I know, man. The hell with that. I'm gonna throw another $1 in here just because I think symbols should be cuss words, right? Like anytime Lawrence does this, I should probably throw $1 in there because that's a cuss word to me. But anyways, at the end of the day, locks himself into that championship for the first driver to do so during the 2022 season. We got 2 more opportunities here, so that means somebody's going to point their way in. We're going to figure out who does it. It's pretty funny. There's a guy I follow out there on Twitter, says, of course, my bracket was shot there after the first couple weeks with Larson going out of the championship forward. That hurt the ending. So I kind of redid it on Twitter with him. And there again, you guys saw the championship show where I started picking out all the guys for the playoffs, who's going to win, what guy's going to win what track. So I kind of redid it, and I had Logano win in Vegas. Now, it's going to be interesting to see if the next guy that I had picked is going to win Homestead Miami, which we'll see. But at the end of the day, Joey Logano takes over that hot spot. Man, I can't speak highly enough about Paul Wolfe. I think Paul Wolfe is probably one of the most underrated crew chiefs that we've seen over the last 2 decades. I loved it whenever he was with Brad Keselowski over there at Penske, got that championship with him. Just a bright mind, thinks outside the box, not scared to go and make that call compared to everybody else. I mean, just like Joey getting that win. Brought him down pit road, nobody followed him. They took 4 tires, and looky here. We're talking about him being locked in the championship for, got to win. So I think that team as a whole is probably one of the most well-rounded teams out there. I know that Logano struggled throughout the seasons at different times, getting a little cold, having some issues running. But at the end of the day, you can always count on Joey being one of those guys that's going to, if not going to come very close to winning that championship there at Phoenix coming up in a couple weeks. So got to put him number 1 on the list, man. Number 2, come on, man.
Come on, man.
Y'all should already know he ain't going to fall that far, man. That's my boy, Chase the Bulldog Elliott. Come on, man. The man's got to stay on the top. Had a dismal run. Yeah, I mean, come on, man. Night owl. I mean, this is what it's all about right here, man. If you're not with this guy, you're late. But at the end of the day, man, not a really good run there at Vegas. I think they just kind of missed that setup. They didn't really have any kind of speed. Ran 20th pretty much all day. Not the showing I think that Chase was really anticipating or wanted. So I look for them to come back swinging really hard this week at Homestead Miami. There's a couple other guys in that camp I think that are going to run good as well. So we're going to see how that progresses. But Chase Elliott there again, I've said it all season long. This guy has been the most consistent. This guy has got the stage points, has got the wins, got all the boxes checked. So I don't know how he misses the race at Phoenix, how he misses the championship for. I haven't really done the math to try to figure out if that's possible. I think it probably is, maybe, if he DNS and finishes dead last and somebody wins a couple races maybe. I'm not sure. We're just going to have to wait and see. I do know he's 3rd right now, so I guess that would mean if some guys jumped ahead of him and he fell, any of those guys that have higher points would point themselves in. But at the end of the day, I don't expect that to happen. I expect him to make the championship 4. So there it is, Chase Elliott, number 2. 3 for me, another guy that's probably going to be a solid lock for that championship 4, and that's Denny Hamlin. The 11 there again has got a couple wins. It's really been hit or miss for him all season long. He's had a really good few runs there and getting consistent at times, but then having some bad ones in a row as well. So I think in the 11, they're coming into championship for him. I think they're finally getting some things figured out. I think Homestead Miami, there again, is another really good racetrack for him. Not to even mention Martinsville, which I'm pretty sure I had him winning that coming up. But at the end of the day, Martinsville is probably his best shot to lock himself in on a win, to me, in my eyes. But there again, the 11 car, you can never count him out. He's never quite got that championship. We've seen him contend quite a few years for it and just never been able to get over that hump and get that championship. Maybe this is the year. Maybe this is the year Denny Hamlin goes out and finally gets it done in that 11 car, and we can quit comparing him to Mark Martin and all the other greats that never won a championship. Because honestly, when you put those careers side by side in comparison, Denny Hamlin has done a lot as well as Mark Martin. Both of them deserve Hall of Fame ballots. So there again, we're just going to have to wait and see what happens. Tune in Sunday, man. Miami. We'll see if the 11 locks it in there. If we wait till Martinsville and then see if he gets it done there. But right now, third on that hot list, man. That's going to wrap it up for the hot. We're going to get on to who's not, man. And right now, Bubba Wallace action Sunday against Kyle Larson are not cool, man. They're not hot. Look, I'm not a fan of Bubba's. I don't dislike him or like him. It's just not my driver. I'm a Chase Elliott fan. There's certain things I look for in drivers, and he just wasn't never my cup of tea. Now, I will say this. The man has paid his dues and climbed from the bottom back to basically the highest he's ever been in the sport with the best equipment he's ever had. But the actions that we saw Sunday on the track are just uncalled for. So I think that any time that a driver uses the car as a weapon on the track, definitely warrants a suspension possibly, especially at these speeds. So that's one thing. That's not really got me. What really got me is when he got out of the car and pursued Kyle Larson and started pushing and shoving him, man. I mean, look, at the end of the day, it's a racing deal. We see guys get into fights all the time. We've seen Chase Elliott, and Kevin Harvick kind of go at it a little bit. And, we've seen Noah Gragson go at it a few times this year. We've seen, other guys, Ty Gibbs go at it. We've seen a lot of guys go at it throughout the years. Gordon's one of them that's went after Brad Keselowski and Harvick and Tony Stewart. And, I mean, it's part of the sport, right? Tempers flare. You're in a 150-degree race car for 4 hours. You get pissed. I mean, that's just what happens. So I'm not gonna go on here and bash and do all that. We're gonna talk a little bit more about this in a bit. But I was very disappointed in Bubba's actions. And I will say this. This is something I've said about Kyle Busch his whole career, whether it was at Kellogg's, whether it was at M&M's, Mars Candy, the same thing with Bubba having that McDonald's sponsor. The three things that I'm gonna say is when you have a sponsor that is kid-friendly and you probably have some of the most young eyeballs on you and fans that are young, regardless of how you treat them in person, regardless of how many autographs you sign, regardless of how many pictures you take, the persona of what you put out of what's acceptable in professional sports or sports alone is sad to me. When you show younger guys it's okay to get out and push on somebody after a race or a baseball game or a football game, I think that to me shows no sportsmanship at all. So I do want to give Kyle Larson a big shout out. I think he handled that like a mature adult and actually showing a lot of these young kids what sportsmanship is. So we're going to say that. The one thing that I will say is it caught up a Toyota teammate. It ruined somebody else's playoff chances in a way as well. Now, Christopher Bell's got to go out and win one of these two races to advance into the round of 4, when really looking at it, he was set a very good self to probably maybe point his way in, depending on who won. So behind the 8 ball, they've won before they can go out and do it again. But there again, do want to say that great sportsmanship, great restraint from Kyle Larson not to do that. Better than what I would have. I can promise you that, because if Bubba would have come up to me pushing on me like that, that man would have caught a double quarter pounder and a 2-piece ass whooping from me. I promise you that. I wouldn't have been as nice as that. But at the end of the day, kudos to Kyle Larson, and I'm sure Bubba's going to learn from this, and we're going to move forward. So Ross Chastain and Daniel Suarez, man, both, looking good at times during all this. I mean, they look like they had some things going on, but they're, again, on the not list, man. We saw Ross Chastain come home with a second-place finish, but we hadn't seen him win since way earlier in the season. So I tell you what, it's going to take a win right here in these next 2 races to get them into that championship 4. And I know a lot of folks had him. I thought he would already be out. I thought it was round of 12. Denny Hamlin talked so much shit all year long. I thought he was going to man up and take him out and make sure he didn't even come this close. It's still not too late. Maybe he does it at Martinsville. Maybe he does it this week at Miami. I don't know. But I will say this. If Denny's going to talk that shit, he better be about it, man, because you can't say he's got a lot of payback coming and this and that and then not even really do anything to him, to be honest. So one little move through the whole year. Come on, man. But anyways, they're on the not list right now. I think Trackhouse has grown leaps and bounds. I think that's probably the most surprising organization we saw all year long, especially from last year to this year. It's just amazing. So I think they're only going to continue to grow. I think you're going to see a 3rd car coming into play full-time at Trackhouse within the next 3 years if they can get that sponsorship, which I just saw. I think Ross Chastain has oh man, it's a heavy equipment company or somebody that's sponsoring him here coming up. So at the end of the day, it doesn't look like they're having any issues finding sponsorship. So it wouldn't surprise me here in the next 2 to 3 years to see that third car, and I think that Justin Marks and Pitbull are both willing to put that money in, and it doesn't help when you win races and make it deep in the playoffs as well. So at the end of the day, looking good, but right now on that not list. So Christopher Bell finds himself on the not as well, not because of anything he did, but just because of the situation he finds himself in. Like I said, when we start getting into these playoffs and we're almost finished with the season, it's really just about who did what and who won or who didn't. And nothing in Christopher Bell has done was his fault. But I will say, you know, without him being in that spot at the certain time, it could have been a lot worse for Kyle Larson. But he's caught up. Must-win situation, so that's why I put him on the not list this week. He's actually going to be one of those guys that's probably on that money line that I talk about here coming up in a couple segments. But at the end of the day, right now, he's in a must-win. He's on that not list, man. So Vegas recap, like I said, we already talked enough about Kyle Larson and all that. But Ross Chastain and Daniel Suarez found themselves both looked pretty strong leading the race there for early parts of it. And Ross Chastain kind of stayed strong all day long. Up front, led. Logano came and took that win right out from underneath him. So at the end of the day, showing speed, just can't get that win. I think this time of year you got to be able to go out and win. So another great run by the Candy Man himself. You don't hear me give him praise very much, but I tell you what, after rebounding from that loose wheel penalty, turning around, I don't remember where he restarted there towards the end, but he drove all the way up to third or fourth place, man. So at the end of the day, he was flying. I think one more restart, he might have gave Joey Logano a run for that money and a run for that trophy. But at the end of the day, big shout out to the Candy Man for a good solid run, man. Getting right into that Miami preview. Look, y'all, this is one of my favorite races that we go to all year long. I wish we raced here twice, to be honest with you. I wish we raced there in the spring and again in the fall. I love Miami. Progressive banking, multi-groove, the restart spread out 4, 5, 6 wide sometimes. That top groove always comes in. You can be fast on the bottom, fast in the middle. You can find your speed. You can move your car around. I think as NASCAR fans, that's what we ask for. We ask for races like that where the competition is tight. We see guys that have short-run cars. We see guys that have long-run cars. We see guys that are good at the start of the race. We see guys that get better toward the longer the race runs. So I think Miami checks a box similar to what California does. It brings all the aspects of the sport that we love all into one great place. So this is one of my favorite races of the year outside of Bristol and Atlanta. I really love this, and Kansas. Those are 3. And I love Chicagoland until they took that out too. But at the end of the day, going to be a wild one, man. It's going to be an awesome one. I can't wait to see who comes home with the checkered flag and locks themselves into the playoffs, or if we get one of these non-playoff contenders steal a win and kind of put it to where now we got 2 guys that are going to point and fight for that point battle. I think that's the ultimate scenario for me as a NASCAR fan to watch is, yeah, we get a guy, let's say Chase Elliott wins this week, he's locked in, or we get a non-playoff driver win this week, and then 2 people, you know, got to fight for points. So it's going to be awesome to watch, man. Getting into that top 5, look, number 1 on my list this week, I talked about him earlier. I got to take a Toyota number 1 this week, and it's Denny Hamlin. And I do this from experience of how many times he's raced at Miami. And it seems like Toyota's been pretty good on 1.5 miles. This is a good 1.5 miles that fits his driving style. He's able to do a lot of different things and maneuver the car. So I'll take him number 1 this week. Number 2, come on, man. Again, similar to the hot list, Chase Elliott's got to come in there after a horrible showing last week at Las Vegas. I think that they're going to bring their A game this week coming into Homestead, Miami. I think that 9 Cam is going to have a fast race car. They're going to make sure of it. And I look for him to be up front contending for that win when the laps start winding down. 3 for me, I got to take Joey Logano. I mean, coming off a win last week at Las Vegas, another 1.5 miles. Now, 2 totally different setups, 2 totally different styles. But at the end of the day, he's raced there for championships too. He's won a championship. He's won the race to win one. So at the end of the day, I look for the 22 to be very strong as well. Let's see, 4 for me. This is the guy that might catch you off surprise a little bit. That's going to be William Byron, man. William Byron in that 24 car is going to be fast at Miami. I think that really fits one of his driving styles. It fits at one of the best tracks he goes to that it fits. Multi-groove there again. I think that young driver had started out hot during the seasons, kind of, you know, warmed back up a little bit, showed some speed this past weekend, ended up getting some damage, this and that, and yada, yada. But at the end of the day, I think that, you know, William Byron's going to come there again with another strong race car out of that Hendrick camp. I think Hendrick's going to bring some strong cars. I think they're trying to get both those guys into the playoffs. This could be the best opportunity for William Byron to get in. So watch out for that 24 this weekend. 5, another guy not in playoff contention, but always runs good at Miami. I think the last 2 races it had 2 top 5 finishes. That's Tyler Reddick. Tyler Reddick's going to get up on that wall. He's going to bring it, man. I know people are like, well, Larson does the same thing. Hey, I'm just telling you right now, Tyler Reddick is going to be a guy that I look for. I'll definitely be taking him on that money line. I promise you that. But that'll wrap it up for the top 5. Now, getting into some dark horses, couple guys that hadn't really, I think, had the season, and one's still winless, to be honest with you, that we're waiting on. Martin Truex Jr., man. I look at Martin Truex Jr., and I go, Homestead, Miami is a great racetrack and a Toyota for him. So I think, there's a guy that could come in and steal a win there, a non-playoff contention driver. 43 at Eric Jones. I think there again, after having a really good run all year long, pretty much on most mile and a halves outside of Atlanta, if you still consider that a normal mile and a half. And was running good there towards the end. A couple of them, actually. Me and Lawrence had him as well in our in our money line bets. But at the end of the day, I think Eric Jones has shown what he's capable of doing. The young, talented driver we knew he was when he came out of Xfinity Series into Cup. I hated to see him go out of Gibbs. I think he could have done really good. But when you got a guy like Christopher Bell and him, very similar in talent, what do you do, right? So Eric Jones over there at Petty, just showing what he can do with some decent equipment. I'd look out for him this weekend as well. Those are two guys for sure that need to look out. And I think Chase Briscoe, 14 car, that's a kid that we haven't really talked too much about this year. A really good run there at Vegas, fought for it, got that track position, and had some speed there towards the end to get that win, or to get that finish. So look out for him again at Homestead, Miami, to maybe, if Stuart Haas brings them a good piece and they unload and they're fast, qualify good, stay out of trouble, could possibly win, man. So we'll be on the lookout for him on that dark horse list as well. So we're going to pause one more time for station identification, y'all, right here on Coach's Corner Sports Network, rubbing and grubbing. Hope everybody's having a great Wednesday, man. Hope you guys are enjoying the show. Cheers, y'all. All right. So we're getting right into that money line presented by Redfin Polarized Sunglasses, man. As I say it all the time, whether you got money on the line or you got a trophy fish, make sure you see it clearly with the best polarized lenses on the planet, man. These things are Italian frame, best freaking polarized lenses I've ever seen in my life. Carl Zeiss, awesome. If you know anything about him, photography lenses forever, man. The guy is awesome, German produced. Amazing set of glasses, man. These glasses are made for the water. Like I say all the time, whether it's offshore or on the lake, don't be caught without them, man. Live life thins up. Make sure you go check out their website, and if you do decide to get a pair, when you go to checkout, make sure you put in rubbing and grubbing to save 15% there at checkout, man. So big shout out to Redfin as well, man. They have been nice enough to sponsor the show. And I tell you what, it's an awesome thing to do to be able to promote their product, because I have a pair of them, man, and I'm telling you right now, these are probably the nicest sunglasses I've ever owned in my life. I've had a lot of pair of Oakley's polarized. I've had a couple Costas. I've had a lot of different pairs. But at the end of the day, I really love these sunglasses. They are awesome. So big shout out there. And again, it's out of Georgia, man. Anything that has to do with Georgia, come on, we're going to represent that, man. So at the end of the day, if you haven't yet, go out, check Redfin Polarized out online. Guaranteed they got a style of glass you're going to like. I went with the blues. They've got light blues, dark greens, they've got the burnt orange, they've got red, they've got black mirrored. They've got so many different polarized options and so many different frames, man. There's bound to be a pair you like. So again, make sure you check out Redfin Polarized, and at checkout, rubbing and grubbing, man. Save 15% right there. So getting right into this money line, I tell you what, it's a really interesting week. I really thought the odds would have been a little bit different. I guess it's 1.5 miles. But I tell you what, they got Denny Hamlin, I think, is the hands-down favorite right now at 8-1, which to me, Denny Hamlin at Miami, that's pretty good odds. So we'll probably chalk him up. I'll look at a few more other guys in that same tier. When you turn around and you look, Denny Hamlin's got really good odds. Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson, Joe Logano. All those guys are right around the same. So we'll probably definitely take a couple of those, because like I said, the way we do is we usually bet around $200, maybe $250 sometimes. Units, excuse me. And so we always like to take a couple guys that, look, if they win and these guys got really good chances at winning, we kind of, break even at least on that. So I look for them. If you're looking for like a middle tier, some people that have some better odds there, again, William Byron, Tyler Reddick. There's some of these guys out there that have, 12-1, 14-1, that are looking strong. Some will even a little bit better than that. So at the end of the day, I think when you look at those kind of middle tiers, those guys present a little bit better value depending on if you're just trying to pick one guy and you're trying to hit something a little bigger. So there again, those are a couple guys I look out. And last but not least, those guys looking to make really big money. Eric Jones is one of them, I'm telling you now. They've got a couple other guys. Ty Gibbs down there. Look, I'm not a huge Ty Gibbs fan, but if there's going to be one track that he's probably going to have a really good run at, it's there. He's able to drive the race car around. We'll see what kind of equipment they bring for him, but I'm looking at him this weekend. The odds look great on him. And if you're trying to go really, really, really deep there, as I say all the time, man, You can take a Corey LaJoie. You can take there's some guys out there, Ricky Stenhouse, man. I mean, we've seen him have good runs in the past there at Miami as well. So there's some guys down there with some good values. We'll have to wait and see till next week who we roll with. I've got to do a little bit more studying on it. But at the end of the day, my opinion, those are some guys you definitely should be looking at to try to bang some bucks out of, man. Make some money there for sure. So getting into that hard right turn, but before we do, hard right turn sponsored by Lamar's Body Shop right up here off Skidaway Road, man. Been servicing the Savannah area and surrounding areas for 35 years or more. Lamar is such an awesome dude. Actually ran into him up here at the concert and charity event. He wanted to make sure he came out and showed his support. So absolutely love him, man. But any kind of automotive body work, paint work, anything you need, make sure you go hop up here right off Skidaway Road. See Lamar at Lamar's Body Shop. They're going to take care of you, man. I've had cars fixed there. Lawrence had cars fixed there. And look, it's a hop, skip, and jump away from coaches, man. So you can come here, you can get some great food, hang out, go back and get your car picked up, man, with your estimate or whatever kind of work it is you haven't done. Make sure you come by here as well, man. But definitely, like I said, all your automotive needs as far as that goes, make sure you go check Lamar's Body Shop out right up here, Skidaway Road. Lamar, love you, brother. So this is what I'm getting into on the hard right turn today, y'all. And look, I've said it before and I'm going to say it again. Social media and sports, right? So we live in a day and age where everybody's opinion is unmonitored and there's no repercussions for letting your opinion fly, right? Social media especially Twitter. The backlash that Bubba Wallace has got over this incident with Kyle Larson, to me, just blows my mind. Look, I'm not a fan of Bubba's at all. Like I said, it's not my forte. I don't care for him. I don't not like him. I don't hate him. I don't anything. But to me, there's no place in sports for derogatory racial comments to be talked about over a racing deal or a sport, man. He didn't do anything different than anybody else other than the fact he, hooked him in the right and spun him in the wall. We've seen it happen before. He did nothing different other than the fact of the speed it was at, okay? Prime examples, which I don't like comparing different situations to this because every single situation is different. There's never two racing incidents that are the exact same, but there were a couple other ones out there that I felt this year warranted a one-race suspension. Not comparing, saying they were exactly identical, but the Ty Gibbs incident that happened on pit road where, 55 is 55 or 45 or 35. Doesn't matter, man. We're talking 1,000-pound machine. And you've got a NASCAR official out there and you have other pit crew members out there and he swerves over and bumps a guy. Now, if that car would have went over and hit somebody, that could have been a death. So I think that warranted a one-race suspension. It didn't happen. Of course, they released the apology. He got the fine, yada, yada, okay? Under the books. Noah Gragson, and I like Noah Gragson. I like the problem child. I think he's a great personality. I think he's a wild dude, drinks beer, hits the Waffle House, you know what I mean? That's awesome to me. I think he's a cool dude. There again, at the road course, doing what he did. Doing the exact kind of same thing Bubba did, taking a guy on purpose and cost 15 other cars their race. So there again, at speed. Not the same incident, not the same outcome, but there again, I think that probably should have warranted a one-race suspension in the Xfinity Series. So I just don't like how people go in so hard on social media, especially with the racial and derogatory comments, just because the guy's a black driver or an Asian driver or Hispanic driver. I just think that's wrong, man. It's a sport, right? So football player, black, white, Hispanic, doesn't matter. China, Asian, it doesn't matter. Whatever you may be, we shouldn't, in a society we live in today, we shouldn't go attack this man. This man is out here doing something he loves, passionate about, while he entertains us, right? Like, we're at home watching this. We're not the ones behind the wheel. We're not the ones that have to do this, but we're the ones that are opinionated enough to go out and say very hurtful things towards a guy that didn't do anything to you directly other than the fact he let his emotions get the best of him and had an incident at a NASCAR event, man. I mean, it's the same type stuff. Like, we don't see the backlash. I didn't see the backlash for anything that happened with Devontae Adams pushing down the cameraman. I didn't see the backlash of anything that's come out yet about Jermaine Burton, the old dirty dog that transferred for the Dogs and went over to Alabama, which he fit right in because he punched a girl in the face. I don't know if y'all seen that Twitter video. I don't see nobody going in on him, right? But we'll always, as NASCAR fans, want to go in on Bubba. And I think that's just, to me, some bullshit. So hopefully they get that changed out and all that. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to justify his actions. I'm not saying his actions were correct. They were not. I mean, there's nothing that at 180 plus miles an hour can justify trying to turn a guy head into a wall, which without Christopher Bell being there, that race could have been, or that incident could have been a lot worse, right? We could be talking about a major injury or, God forbid, a death, which we hadn't had in the sport for, a couple decades now, honestly. So at the end of the day, I just think it's something that we really got to look at as fans and be able to bite our tongue, give a very educated, well well presented, well spoken opinion on the incident. But if you don't have anything to say that's really going to benefit the outlook of what it is, or my opinion, the derogatory racial stuff, just there's no place for that, man. So that's just how I feel about it. Like I said, I don't condone his actions. I don't condone any of that. But when you look at it, this man's out there with families and loved ones. You know, it's like this guy's got to go out and be in the public at some point in time. Got to go to the grocery store like we do. He ties his shoes the way we do. He uses the bathroom like we do. So not only that, think about the way his family members, his mom, his dad, his sisters or brothers, if he has them, his girlfriend or fiancés or nieces and nephews, and they get on Twitter and see this stuff on there, man. It's just wrong. I don't think anybody should have to live with that. So that's just where I'm at with that. But at the end of the day, hopefully we get all the way through this BS. And honestly, to be honest, I don't think we would even be talking about the situation on the scale that we're talking about it had it been anybody outside of Bubba Wallace. Had it been Chase Elliott doing this, like with Kevin Harvick last year at Bristol, or last week with Cole Custer kind of holding up the field, I think that was a bigger deal, implementing playoff for Chase Briscoe to get those points. That was a bigger deal than what we saw there, man. That's just something. Do I agree that with underspeed? I mean, he got his suspension. He's going to pay his dues. NASCAR came down the correct way, but I think they dropped the ball a couple other times during the year. So hopefully the guidelines and the rules become a little bit more clear after the 2022 season and go, we're not going to tolerate this. Now if you wanted to do that, go back out, complete your race, pull on pit road and get out and scrap it out, have at it. I know NASCAR is down for that. We've seen it 3 times this year already. So at the end of the day, I think there's things Bubba could have done different and handled his business a lot better. There again, I spoke on it earlier, when you have sponsors that are very kid-friendly, and McDonald's is probably the most kid-friendly sponsor we have in the sport right now, outside of M&M's. When they leave next year, it's going to be it. So you got to be able to represent that sponsor very well, and especially you got to be able to represent yourself. It's not a good look for yourself. It's not a good look for your sponsor. These things are getting harder and harder to come by, especially a sponsor the size of McDonald's. So there again, I think when you carry a kid-friendly sponsor, you have to be able to carry yourself as an adult and present yourself out there to kids. The last thing I ever want is to see Bubba Wallace, little kids being a fan of Bubba Wallace or Kyle Busch or some other guys out there, and watch them on Sundays and they're race car drivers or baseball players or football players and get out and go fight a little kid because they're upset and they don't know how to control their emotions. I think that's a very disciplinary thing we have to teach our children and instill in our children, is how to be disciplined in anything. Sports are sports, right? You're going to lose. You're going to have times that you feel like you've been done wrong, but it's all about how you carry your actions through them. Now, there again, I do justify in the fact sometimes some things do need to get physical in a way. I don't condone physical violence just off the bat like that. Now, like I said, had he got over at the race and went and done it on pit road, so be it. You know what I mean? I've seen my boy Chase Elliott do it. I've seen numerous guys throughout the year do it. That's just part of the sport. I get it. But the last thing I want is for young NASCAR fans or drivers out there to see these actions and then carry it over into their day-to-day actions that they do on the racetrack or on the football field or baseball diamond. So that's where I'm at with that. We're going to move right on. That's going to wrap it up for the rubbing part. We're on to the grubbing. I went with a staple here because I've been craving one of these and I hadn't had one in probably a month or so. And this is probably one of my favorite ones that I find everywhere that we go. So we're rolling out with the burger again. I know we've done it a couple times already. I don't give a damn. This burger is one of the best burgers in town. If you have not had a burger from Coach's Corner yet, you are missing out, man. I've got all the works on here. Big cut steak fries, man, please. Lettuce, tomato, onion, pickle, bacon. I'm going to get home. I'm going to tear this thing down, I promise you. Ketchup, mustard, mayonnaise. I might even throw some barbecue sauce on this thing, some jalapenos. I don't know what I'm going to do, man. But they will cook this thing any way you want it. Any way you want it, man. So if you haven't yet, come out, get that home run burger. I didn't go Grand Slam today, which is 2 patties, but we'll go home run. Make sure you check it out right here at Coach's Corner, y'all. So do got to give a big shout out before I get out of here, man. Got a huge concert coming up in the Soundgarden this weekend. This is probably one of my favorite bands to see up here of all times. Got 2 tickets, y'all. So, hey, you know what we do, man. Anytime that there's a concert coming up, if you're watching tonight, you go down in that comment section and you drop hashtag Back in Black, you're going to get 2 free tickets up here at the door for you to come watch this AC/DC tribute, man. They play the part. They sound just like them. They dress just like them. This is one of the best shows all year long right here, and it's coming up this Saturday, 7 o'clock. So if you haven't yet, make sure you get your tickets, because I can promise you this one here is going to sell out before the week's over. I promise you. I'm going to to be here. Still got that cooler full of joy from last weekend. We're going to be running that raffle again. So if anybody got tickets last week, we didn't get rid of it at the end of the concert. I had to get the hell on out of here. I promise you, I was one-eyed. It was time to go. But at the end of the day, man, we're going to be doing that again this weekend. So everybody that got those raffle tickets last weekend will be eligible again. And we're going to have be going out, me and Lindsay. I'm sure Lindsay will be down here with me. Lawrence will be here. It's going to be an awesome time. So like I said, Back in Black, AC/DC tribute this Saturday, Coach's Corner live at 7 o'clock. So make sure you get those tickets. Get them on Eventbrite. You can come up at Coach's and get them. But definitely make sure that you get those tickets locked down because they are going to go fast. Got to give a big shout out to the shows. There again, Carl DeMasi Sports Report. You can catch that every Saturday, 9 until. Awesome show, keeping you up on everything prep sports-wise here in the Savannah local area. Football, baseball, volleyball, tennis, soccer, track, lacrosse, swimming, golf, anything that's prep sport. DeMasi knows his stuff, man. Coach is an awesome dude. You can also catch that baseball show. Drops, every Tuesday? Podcast Tuesday. That drops every Tuesday. Who's on First Base with Kyle Lawson and Coach DeMasi. Awesome show. Those guys know their stuff. Know the Braves are out, but look, man, we still got some playoff games going on. We got divisional championship series going right now. Hey, look, if Braves can't win, I want to see the Phillies win. At least that's what we're going to, get somebody that beat us to do it, man. But at the end of the day, we got that. Also, don't know if y'all know, I'm sure if you keep up with Facebook and you're a friend of John Henderson's Coach's Corner, you've seen it. The teepee has officially come down, y'all. We put the dog house up, man. So we're going to run it until we meet this goal for Help Save one of our own. And there again, anytime you come by Coach's, if you'd like to donate to that charity, it's a 501c nonprofit. It's tax deductible. Still looking for some, good donations out there, man. John's got a goal set. We're doing great so far. We're going to get there, man. With bye week this week, I know we got to keep it calm, but that Georgia-Florida game and the Tennessee game back-to-back weeks up here on the doghouse, I'm telling you now, you better come and get it because it's going to go to the highest bidder. And I got a feeling that the Georgia-Florida game and I got a feeling that Tennessee game, it's going to go for a fair amount, man. So if you want to lock it down and reserve it, make sure you get up here and call John Henderson, talk to John Henderson. And like I said, I'm more than likely got a feeling that's going to go to the highest bidder, man. That's going to be a live environment up there for two of the best games we got all season long as dog fans, man. So go Dogs, by the way. That's all I got to say. But definitely want to do that. Make sure you check out Travis. Judon over there at Hot Grits, man, dropping it like a shitty baby. I say that all the time. He knows what that means. I love it. But at the end of the day, man, love Travis. Does a great show. You can catch that podcast streaming every Tuesday anywhere you stream your podcast. That's Hot Grits. Make sure you check that out. Just an awesome thing. Travis, we got to get up together, brother. Either you up here or do another show at Coach's or get me on the show. We got to get together and do some sports stuff here before we get to the end of the season here with college football, baseball, NASCAR sometime, man. Give me a holler, man. It'd be my pleasure to get on. But before I get out of here, I do got to give a big shout out to Coach Carl DeMasi as well, man. He came by, showed some love at the barbecue contest. Coach is probably one of the coolest dudes. He actually taught Aubrey, Payson's mom, in school, so he wanted to make sure he came out and showed his love. And that wasn't the first time this year he did it. He also did Cooler Full of Joys up here for me, helped raffle off some other tickets, all kinds of stuff. So, Coach, I do want to say a big thank you to you, man. Well-deserved, pat on the back, man. I love you. Anything you ever need from me, all you got to do is call me. You know that, Coach. So before I get out of here, man, just want to tell everybody, I hope everybody had a great Wednesday out there. Thanks to everybody for tuning in, man. It's been a blast. We still got a few more weeks, man. Like I said, we got this cooler going. Make sure you come up to Coach's, catch Back in Black, donate in, man. I'm going to keep you posted on the exact amount that we raised for Payson this year in that educational fund up here. But at the end of the day, man, make sure you, as I say all the time, make sure you hug your loved ones out there, give them a kiss. Tomorrow's not given, man. And everybody just be happy with each other, man. Let's show some love, man. But till next time, love y'all. I'll be here next Wednesday. Tune in again, rubbing and grubbing, 6 o'clock every Wednesday, live, Coach's Corner, the center of the universe on Coach's Sports Network. But until then, wash your hands, y'all.